Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Liu Ting, and I'm excited to introduce our presentation on differences in reading habits between languages. Have you noticed how reading feels different in different languages? In English, we focus on sounds and letters, while in Chinese, it's about recognizing characters. This isn't random, it's because each language has its own unique system and cultural background. Reading habits are shaped by the system of the language we speak, the education we receive, and the culture we grow up in. For example, some language requires left to right reading, while others are read top to bottom or right to left. The way we scan text word by word or holistically depends on the script and its complexity. To explore those ideas, we have divided the presentation into five key sections. Number one, basic difference in reading states. Number two, vocabulary awareness and reading habits. Number three, reading speed and comprehension. Number four, teaching reading in education. Number five, influence of cultural background on reading content and habits. Our goal is to shed light on those differences and help us understand their implication for education and communication in a globalized world. Let's now move to the first section where we will dive into language characteristics and how they shape the foundation of reading habits. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the previous presenter. Next, I will present basic difference in reading styles. Definition of phonetic is the study of speech sounds. Knowing a language includes learning the sounds of that language. Everyone who knows a language knows how to segment sentence into words and words into sound. The science of phonetic aims to describe all the sounds of all the world language of all the world language. First, acoustic phonetic focus on the physical properties of the sounds of language. Second, auditory phonetic focuses on how listeners perceive the sounds of language. Third, articulatory phonetic focus on how the vocal tract produce the sounds of the language. The third one is examples of ideographic writing system include Chinese character and Egypt hieroglyphs, which convey meaning through visual symbol or representation of concept. The difference in eye movement patterns between the language writing system. Native speaker of language with more densely packed linguistic information like Chinese and Hebrew have shorter average scaled lengths when reading English. In left to right language, people read more of the text on the left and top of the page. In the right to left language, people read more of the text on the right side of the page. Key difference in the aspect of word by word scanning versus holistic recognition. Primary focus in word by word scanning is individual words, syllables or phonemes. Meanwhile, holistic recognition is entire character, symbol or cluster of meaning. Second, writing system word by word scanning is more towards phonetic, alphabetic or syllable system, while holistic recognition leans toward logographic or ideographic system. The last is eye movement, word by word scanning progressing letter by letter or word by word. Meanwhile, holistic recognition capture multiply character at once. Okay, the second is ideographic language, a writing system in which character or symbol represents ideas or concept rather than specific sounds or phonemes, regardless of the language spoken. Each character typically represents a specific word or concept.
Alright, thank you for the previous explanation from my group member. Now I will go through with my part of our discussion, which is about vocabulary awareness and reading habit. Focusing on the difference between pinyin language, like English, and ideographic language, such as Chinese. Our analysis will cover vocabulary length, information density, and the role of context in reading. Let's begin by examining vocabulary length and information density, which differ significantly between pinyin and ideographic language. In pinyin language, such as English, words are typically longer because they are formed by combining phonemes to represent sound. For example, the word anti-disestablishmentarianism is not only long, but also contains multiple prefixes and roots, each contributing to its overall meaning. While such words can appear complex, understanding often rely on breaking them into components and using contextual cues. On the other hand, in ideographic language, such as Chinese, words or characters are generally shorter. A single character often represents a complete idea or concept. For example, this here is Shang or mountain, and after we combine it with Huo, or we call it fire, it will become Huo Shang, and it's volcano, main volcano. These characters are compact yet carry high information density. This structure makes communication efficient, especially in written form, where a few characters can convey an entire thought. In summary, while pinyin language rely on longer word built from phonetic component, ideographic language achieve brevity through the dense meaning of individual characters. Next, let's discuss the role of context in reading, which vary depending on the language system. In pinyin language, context play a vital role in comprehension. Words often have multiple meanings, requiring readers to rely on surrounding text to clarify intent. For example, the word bat could refer to a flying mammal or a piece of sport equipment. Without the surrounding word or sentence, its meaning is ambiguous. Additionally, phonetic decoding, the process of sounding out words, help readers access meaning, but also make them dependent on context for disambiguation. In contrast, ideographic language are less dependent on context for individual character recognition. Each character typically has a clear and unique meaning. I will show you an example. Okay, for example, shui or water is immediately recognizable and understood without additional information. However, context becomes important when characters combine to form phrase or compound words which may carry nuanced meaning or idiomatic expression. For instance, our meaning is big, and we combine it with shui, which is water. It can mean flood, which rely on combining non-characters and interpreting the phrase as a whole. To summarize, pinyin language lean heavily on contextual cue and phonetic decoding, while ideographic language allow for more direct recognition of individual meaning, with context becoming important at higher level of language construction. Now I will pass it to my friends.
Next, I will explain reading speed and comprehension. Firstly, there is a difference in reading speed. The difference in reading speed between pinyin language and ideographic language mainly stems from their difference in information density, decoding methods, and learning difficulty. Pinyin language relies on letters or syllables to represent pronunciation and meaning, and each letter or syllable carries less information, so it needs to be decoded syllables by syllable. The learning of pinyin language is usually relatively easy, especially when the rules of the pinyin systems are clear. Learners can quickly master the rules of syllable spelling, but when faced with unfamiliar or long words, the reading speed is slower. In ideographic language, each character often represents a complete vocabulary or concept, with high information density and no need to spell each letter individually. The learning difficulty of ideographic language is relatively high, requiring the memorization of a large number of characters and their meanings. but as long as enough Chinese characters are measured, the reading speed of ideographic language may actually exceed that of pinyin language. In the eye tracking study conducted by Brasbird, data showed that the fixation time of pinyin language is usually between 200 to 300 milliseconds. Especially when dealing with unfamiliar words, the dwell time may be extended to 400 to 500 milliseconds. The fixation time of ideographic characters is usually shorter, about 115 to 215 milliseconds. Especially for common characters, the fixation time will be even shorter. In summary, ideographic language often exhibit higher reading speed among proficient readers due to their information density and the overall recognition advantages, while pinyin language may be smooth in the early stages of reading, but slower when faced with complex vocabulary. Then, there is a difference in the understanding process between these two languages. Pinyin language mainly relies on the combination of letters, syllables, or pinyin to construct words and sentences. When reading pinyin language, the understanding process is usually analyzed word by word. For example, the English word cat need to start from the letters C, A, and T, spell it as k, it, and understand its meaning based on the grammar and the context of the vocabulary. Next, let's take a look at ideographic language. In the process of understanding, readers of ideographic language often quickly store and extract the meaning of characters through short-term memory. Skilled readers can quickly recognize a word and understand its meaning in the context. This is because each character itself already carries rich semantic information without the need to decode zero spelling syllable like in pinyin language. The understanding process of ideographic language relies more on the overall understanding of vocabulary and sentences, rather than just analyzing individual words one by one. For example, when reading a Chinese text, readers are usually able to quickly scan the context, grasp keywords, and understand the overall meaning of the sentence, rather than deducing them word by word. For example, in Chinese characters, shu directly expresses the meaning of book without the need to spell syllables. This difference makes ideographic language more efficient in reading high-frequency vocabulary and familiar text, while pinyin language may prefer slower in processing new or long words. Okay, let's move on to the next part.
Hello everyone, I'm Jia Wenyi. I will introduce how they differ in teaching reading. The first part is differences in teaching style. About the alphabetic reading class, we need to notice the development of phonological evidence. For example, English. Directly related to phonics, the teaching of reading places emphasis on the correspondence between phonics and spelling. Students need to master the rules for rounding out letters and letter combination for spelling and word recognition. Next, about the ideograph class. About this class, we need to focus on the integration of glyphs and meanings. Ideographs such as Chinese words usually have independent meaning of each word, and their teaching emphasizes the integrated learning of glyph shape, sounds, and meanings. So the next part, I prepared the two examples about this. The first example, when we teaching students this sentence, Silas might be calling you with some misleading information. Students don't know what is misleading. The most important thing at first, we need to teach the students what mean about this word. The misleading means misskilled or worth something. And next important thing is we need to teaching students how to pronounce this word. About this word, we can separate the pronounce into three parts. Misleading. so students can know about this and more easy to understand this sentence. And the next example is Chinese word. The word is say sun. The original meaning of sun is the distance growth of trees. But in Chinese class, we also need to teach students if you want to talk about one tree, you can see mu. And you want to talk about many trees, you can see lin. And you want to explain a lot of trees contact together, you can see sun. So this is different between alphabetic rating and ideograph rating. The second part is differences in textbooks. About alphabetic rating, we need to focus. The first paragraph is upward leveling. We are gradual progression from simple letters and words to complex sentences and paragraphs, emphasizing the transition from phonic and semantic. About the second paragraph is topical content. Usually are designed around different themes. For example, family, school, we are combined with picture and scenario to finalize students' integration into the context. So next, about ideograph, we also need to focus the two paragraphs. The first paragraph is chapter-centered. The argument of teaching materials is often based on commonly used words, with each lesson centering on the teaching a member of Chinese word and focus on the link between the shape, sound, and meaning of the word. Second paragraph is multi-level guidance. From simple words to sentence and paragraph, students are gradually expand their vocabulary and at the same time matters grammar and rhetoric. So from my part, we are focused on the teaching style and the teaching textbook to explain what's different about this. Looking forward to the next part.
Hello everyone, my name is Zhu Yining. Next, I will explain to you the impact of cultural background on reading context and habits. Pinyin language favor linear logical, and the structure of the text usually unfolds in a straight line. For example, problem analysis solution logical, the context advances lower and lower, and the readers can understand each part of the content in turn. On the other hand, ideographic language pay more attention to homiletic and metaphorical experiences, and emphasize to rendering of emotion and background. The culture usually begins with suspense or padding and only at the end reveals the core message, and the reader need to integrate the whole text in order to understanding the theme. Let's take a look at an example. It's an English news report with an invited primate switch culture. We can see that the quote information is precisely at the beginning and the deals unfolds gradually. In the other picture, we can see from the title is a poem about free will, but the first two lines don't sit very well. If we translate it directly, we may think it's about weather and pear blossoms, but in fact, the meaning of these two lines is that it's snow in August of the north, and the snow is so big that it hangs over the branch that's like the pear blossoms or in full bloom. Their flavor. It also shows that under difficult cultural and linguistic background, Pinyin speakers are more direct in their expressions, while ideographic speakers are more euphemistic. Due to the difficult form of language, the length of the textual expression will vary. For example, in English, I haven't seen you in forever, while in Chinese it's a full word 好久不见. Its difference is due to the normality of grammar of Pinyin language, whereas ideograms can omit subject or other components from their expressions. It makes their Pinyin language more accurate to read. so it's stimulating the transfer of full-length readings, such as e-books and long texts, whereas audiograms are more adapted to fragmented reading patterns such as short video, subtitle, and short story.
Alright, let's dive into the core points of today's part. We've explored how reading habits change depending on whether you're dealing with a phonetic language like English or an ideographic one like Chinese. For phonetic languages, we break things down word by word, but in ideographic languages, we tend to absorb entire characters almost in one go. We also discussed how vocabulary length impacts reading speed, long words in phonetic languages, while ideographic languages fit more meaning into each character. And also, culture plays a massive role in shaping how we read, whether you're reading for fun or practical reasons, and the way you're taught all add up to create distinct reading habits in different languages. Now, let's stir up some thoughts. Do you think that with the rise of digital media, we might start to see reading habits converge across different languages? And here's another one. How deeply do you believe culture shapes the way we read and understand what's in front of us? Is it more about where we come from or how we interpret content? To sum it up, reading habits are deeply shaped by the language we use, the culture we come from, and how we're taught. And also, how we move our eyes while reading, how much information a single word can carry, and how culture influences our mindset. All play a key role in how we process what we read. By understanding these differences, we can read more consciously and better appreciate the unique ways people engage with text around the world. Last but not least, thank you all for tuning in. I hope this gave you fresh insights, how language and culture shape our reading habits. Let's keep challenging ourselves to think differently and embrace a global perspective. I truly appreciate your time.